Imagine this, you walk into a company meeting only to discover your childhood friend is the thief you just exposed. What would you do? This is the story of two childhood friends, David and Charles, a story of love, loyalty, betrayal, and the hardest choice one man ever had to make. David grew up in a home where things were not perfect, but comfortable. His parents had steady jobs, and they made sure David never lacked the basics. They weren't rich, but they were doing just fine. Charles, on the other hand, came from a family that struggled every day. His parents had to roast plantain and sell pepper in the market just to put food on the table. In their neighborhood, people often wondered, why is David, the boy from a stable home, always playing with Charles, the poor boy? But David never cared about what people thought. To him, Charles was not just a friend, he was a brother. Every morning, when David's parents went to work, they left behind food for their son. But David always waited until Charles came around. He would share the breakfast, the lunch, even small foodstuffs for Charles to take home. His parents noticed that food never lasted in the house anymore. They complained, they scolded him, but David didn't stop. His loyalty to Charles was stronger than their complaints. And so the two boys grew together, sharing everything, toys, laughter, and even tears. The bond tested by life. As they grew older, life began to test their friendship. David still had his parents' support, but Charles struggled to find his footing. David didn't give up on him. He supported Charles with money whenever he could, encouraged him to pray, and reminded him that their situation could change. Then one day, a miracle came. David was sick and couldn't attend church. Charles went alone, and on his way back, he met a man who took an interest in him. That man decided to help Charles. And just as David had prayed, the help worked out. Charles finally found his breakthrough. Slowly, Charles's life began to change. He was doing well, making money, and becoming successful. Cars, deals, connections, Charles was rising. But while Charles climbed, David began to struggle. The allowance his parents gave him was no longer enough. He was becoming a man, and he needed more to sustain himself. So, he turned to the friend he once sacrificed so much for. The beginning of betrayal. David went to Charles and asked for help, not free money, but just support to find a job or start something of his own. But Charles began to postpone. He sent David on errands, made excuses, and never truly offered help. Neighbors noticed. They began to whisper. Isn't Charles the one making money now? Why is David, his childhood friend, still struggling? Some even mocked David. Your friend just bought a new car. He's signing deals. And yet, you're here. Doesn't that tell you he doesn't care about you? But David refused to listen. He defended Charles every time. To him, Charles was still that same boy he shared food with many years ago. He didn't want negativity to destroy their bond. Still, the disappointment grew. David could feel that his friend was no longer the same. A new door opens. One day, David met a pastor who told him to keep praying. This pastor later introduced David to someone, a man who turned out to be the elder brother of the same person who had once helped Charles years back. Coincidence? Or destiny? The elder brother owned a company that was facing serious financial issues. During a conversation, David mentioned that he was good with accounting and finance. Intrigued, they asked him to take a look at the books. As David carefully analyzed the accounts, he discovered something shocking. Money was being stolen from the company. Large amounts. Consistently. He reported this to the elder brother, who was shocked. They decided to set up a board meeting to address the issue. David had no idea that this discovery would lead him face to face with his old friend. The truth revealed. On the day of the meeting, David walked into the boardroom and froze. Sitting across the table was Charles, his childhood friend. They greeted politely, though there was distance between them now. The elder brother, noticing their familiarity, asked, "Do you two know each other?" David nodded. "Yes, we grew up together. He was my closest friend." Then the meeting began. The boss announced, "Someone has been stealing money from this company's account. But thanks to David, who uncovered the truth, we are close to finding out who it is." Suddenly, Charles's face changed. During a break, he pulled David aside. With fear in his eyes, Charles confessed, "David, it's me. I've been taking the money. I used it to buy my car, to impress my wife, to live the life people expected of me. Please, I beg you. Don't expose me. If they find out, I lose everything, my job, my reputation, my family. Please, cover for me. You know what we've been through? Don't let it end like this." David's heart sank. Memories rushed back, the childhood meals they shared, the laughter, the dreams, the prayers. But also the disappointments, the neglect, the betrayal. He knew that if he told the truth, Charles would lose everything, and David would be promoted to manager. But if he covered for him, Charles would continue in dishonesty, and the company might collapse further. David was torn between loyalty to a friend and obedience to the truth. So, I leave this question with you. Backhand index pointing right. If you were in David's shoes, what would you do? Would you cover up for Charles because of the years of friendship you shared? Or would you tell the truth, even if it meant destroying the life of the man who was once like a brother to you? Because sometimes, the hardest choices in life are not between right and wrong, but between the heart and the mind.